Bonjour everyone, welcome to today's class. In this class, we are going to study le conditionnel présent. Le conditionnel présent. Le conditionnel présent is kind of, you can say, a future tense where we talk in terms of would. Like, for instance, I say that I will go to market. Then I will go to market. We are using will. This is a certain condition that definitely I'm going to the market. So this, when we want to describe the conditions by will, we always use le future simple. But when we want to say random condition that I would go to market, it's not certain that I would definitely go to market. No, it means that there is little uncertainty in the happening of the event. This is uncertain, a little uncertain. So we would say that I would go to market, which means I could not go to market. This could also happen. So le conditionnel présent is utilized in French when we want to talk in the polite terms. Whenever you want to talk polite, you will always use le conditionnel présent. Okay, always le conditionnel présent. Okay, now we are going to dive into how to make this tense. There are very simple rules for making the conditional present. Some of the verbs are irregular, so we need to memorize those verbs. The little bit difficulty in those verbs is that they are like irregular. We have to memorize the conjugation, like the terminations would remain the same, but the stem, just the stem would change. So for that, leaving those irregular verbs, this is a very simple tense. Okay, now let's study that how it is made. So first of all, règle. Règle means rules. Le conditionnel présent, the conditional present, est utilisé is utilized pour exprimer, for expressing. Exprimer means express, okay? To express, for expressing une action, an action soumise à une condition, underlying an condition. When we have a condition that we have to do this, then when there is a condition, we will use le conditionnel présent. Une hypothèse, like I have explained, that it's not certain that event will happen. It could happen. There is some, like we can say, there is some uncertainty. We are making the things in the terms of hypothesis. We are not providing any kind of guarantee for these terms. Okay. Un souhait. Souhait means want. When we want to do something, or une politesse. Politesse means when we want to talk in polite terms, when we want to be polite with someone, we always use le conditionnel présent. How to use it? We will make sentences later on. First of all, we will see that how are the terminations, like how do we use the terminations and what's the radical of the verb we utilize here. So very simple rule for making this tense is that for the formation of the verb, you would simply take the radical of the future simple and we would add the termination of l'imparfait. The tense we did in the present and future simple which we have discussed. So we would take the radical of the future simple and terminations of imparfait. Okay, so the terminations of imparfait are AIS with je, AIS with tu, AIT avec il and on, et on, okay, IONS avec nous, IEZ avec vous, and AIENT avec il and elle plural. So let's take the example of some verbs, what their meaning is, and how the terminations are being used there. So we would understand more, and then we will study the sentences so that you could learn the uses of le conditionnel présent. Okay. These are some examples where we would take the verbs, okay, and we would add the terminations for imperfect and then the verb would change in the conditional present, okay. So first of all, the first column is of sujet. Sujet is je, okay. The radical of future. In general, when we when we make le futur simple, we generally take the whole verb. If it is er ending, we take whole verb if it's ir ending, and we drop the last e if it's re ending verb, right? And then we would add the termination of imparfait, and this would be our conjugation in conditional. J'aimerais. J'aimerais. It's pronounced as AI is pronounced as A, and S at the end is silent, so it would be j'aimerais. J'aimerais. Okay. For instance, you can make the sentence that j'aimerais, j'aimerais visiter, j'aimerais visiter Paris. I would like to visit Paris. So if you made it in the future, then what could have been the sentence? It could be je, then the whole verb aimer, then the conjugation of future simple, and then the sentence would remain same. The last sentence would remain same. It wouldn't change. Now the meaning would change. So if you write like this, if you add the conjugation of future, it would mean I will like. I will like. It means j'aimerais. When we add AIS, it means I would like. I would like. So this is a difference in the future simple and le conditionnel présent. Okay. Now take the second sentence. Avec tu. Avec tu, we have taken the radical of the verb and then we would add the termination of the imparfait. It would become tu aimerais. Again, AIS is pronounced as A, ending S would be silent. We would say tu aimerais, tu aimerais. Let's say apprendre le français. Tu aimerais apprendre le français. It means you would like to learn. Apprendre means to learn. Apprendre, it means learn, to learn, okay? Le français, the French. Now take the third subject. Sujet could be il or elle, okay? The verb is aimer, and then we would add the termination ait. Again, the ending t would be silent, so it's also pronounced as a, okay? So we would take the verb as it is, and we would add ai to it. Now let's write one more sentence with it. Let's say elle. Elle means she. Aimerait, elle aimerait, she would like. Voyager, elle aimerait voyager en Espagne. Espagne. Espagne means Spain. Okay. She would like to travel. Voyager means to travel. En Espagne means in Spain. Okay, in Spain. Then next sujet, nous. With nous, we would take the radical of the verb for future, which is the whole verb. Okay. Then we would add the termination of imparfait, which is IONS. Then this would be our conjugation. We would write nous. Now S and A together. Okay, it would be pronounced as Z. Nous aimerions. Nous aimerions, let's say, voir ce film. Voir ce film. Voir ce film means, voir means to see. Ce film means this film. Nous aimerions, it's pronounced as ion. I is pronounced as E, then ON is pronounced as on, so ion, okay? Nous aimerions voir ce film. Nous aimerions voir ce film. We would like to watch this film. Next sujet is vous. We would take the radical of the verb as it is. Then we would add IEZ. IEZ, this is the termination of imparfait when we use the subject as vous. It's pronounced as EA. EA. I is pronounced as E and EZ at the end is always A. So with vous, avec vous, it would be again S and A together, it would be pronounced as Z, okay? Vous aimeriez. Vous aimeriez, let's say participer. Participer. You would like to participate. Vous aimeriez participer. Vous aimeriez participer. Now, the last sujet, il or elle plural. So we would take the radical of the verb and then we would add ai, ent, which is the termination of imparfait pour il and elle. Okay, the ending ent would be silent and ai is pronounced as a. So it would be pronounced as il aimerait because s and a together would be pronounced as z. Okay, so let's write one more sentence. Il aimerait, again s and a together z. Okay, il aimerait For instance, we can say they would like to buy a house. Ils aimeraient acheter une maison. Ils aimeraient acheter une maison. Now I hope that you would have understood the uses of conditional. When we use le future sample, what is the difference? The condition is will. The helping verb in English is will. We would not use the helping verbs in French. We simply change the terminations of the verb, and the whole meaning of the verb would change. So that's how the tenses will make in French. But the difference with English is that the helping verb in future simple is will. In conditional présent, it's would. It's would. Okay. So this is a difference. Now let's read these sentences one more time. The first sentence: J'aimerais visiter Paris. J'aimerais visiter Paris. I would like to visit Paris. Then, tu aimerais apprendre le français. Tu aimerais apprendre le français. You would like to learn the French. You would like to learn the French. Third sentence. Elle aimerait voyager en Espagne. Elle aimerait voyager en Espagne. That means she would like to visit in Spain. Next. Nous aimerions voir ce film. Nous aimerions voir ce film. That means we would like to watch this film. Next one. Vous aimeriez. Vous aimeriez participer. You would like to participate. You would like to participate. Next one. Ils aimeraient acheter une maison. Ils aimeraient acheter une maison. They would like to buy a house. So that's how the conditional present is used, and that's how the sentences are made. Now for the more understanding, we will study a little more of the sentences. Okay. These are some of the sentences where we will use the conditional present. Okay. Le conditionnel présent. So the first sentence is Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît. Now, s'il vous plaît means please. Okay, please. Here we are addressing someone in the polite manner that I would like a coffee. So when you want to express some politeness, you would always use le conditionnel présent. Now, voudrais is from the vouloir verb, which is irregular. So for making the future simple with this like verb, we make the sentence as je voudrais. Je voudrais. This is how it is conjugated in le futur simple. So here in the conditional présent, what do? We take the radical of the verb as this. We drop the termination of futur simple, and then we would add the termination of imparfait, which is ais. Although the pronunciation with je, only with je, it doesn't change in futur simple and le conditional présent. Okay. Je voudrais un café. I would like a coffee, please. Okay. The next sentence is we would like to go on vacation. Nous aimerions. S and A together is Z. Okay. Then IONS is the termination like we did earlier in the verb conjugation where we have studied. Nous aimerions. We would like partir. Partir means to leave. Okay. Partir means to leave or to go, you can say. En vacances. En vacances in French is on vacation in English. Nous aimerions partir en vacances. Okay. The third one again. She would like to become a doctor. She would like to become a doctor. Okay. Now here vouloir means want. Okay. And aimerait means like. So in conditional, both of these verbs have the same meaning. She would like to become a doctor. You can use elle aimerait. You can use the tense as this. Elle aimerait. Okay. Elle aimerait. You're using the er ending verb as it is, and then you're adding the conjugation of l'imparfait. Or you can take this, because vouloir means to want. Okay. To want, and aimer means to like. Aimer means to like. So both of these verbs are here used in the same manner. She would like or she want. It is the same meaning. So you can take this radical voudrais and then you will drop ai, and for the conjugating it with l we would add ai t at the end. So it would become elle voudrait. In future it would have been elle voudra, like this. Elle voudra, because for the pardon, for la future simple we only add a when the sujet is elle. So elle voudra means she will like, she will want, okay, and elle voudrait means she would like. Devenir, devenir means to become. A doctor is médecin. So what would be the sentence in French? It would be elle voudrait devenir médecin. Elle voudrait devenir médecin. Okay, the next sentence. They could come tomorrow. It's an hypothetical condition that they could come tomorrow. It's an hypothesis. It's not certain that we are asking them to definitely come tomorrow. So if it would have been definite, then we would have said they can. Okay, but it's uncertain. So we are using could. So could means le conditionnel présent. So it would become from the pouvoir verb. Okay, from the pouvoir verb, which is also irregular. So for the pouvoir, how do we conjugate it? With the je, it's pourrait. That's how it's made. Je pourrais, tu pourras, like this. Okay. So this is the radical. P-O-U double R. P-O-U double R. So now we want to conjugate it with il plural. We would take this radical, then we would add the termination of un parfait pour il. It would become il pourrait, because ending ent we do not pronounce it. Il pourrait venir demain. Il pourrait venir demain. They could come tomorrow. They could come tomorrow. For come, the verb is venir. Demain is tomorrow. Il pourrait venir demain. Okay. Then the last one, you should study more. You should study more. Now again, it's a hypothetical condition. We are not definitely asking person. We are giving an suggestion to someone that you should do this more. So for this, for should, you already know the verb devoir, right? Devoir verb. The conjugation of devoir verb in future simple, how it is made. Like with je, it's devrait. With je, it's devrait. That's how it's conjugated. So in the conditional présent, we would take the radical of the future simple, then we would add the termination of imparfait, which is ais, avec tu. Tu devrais étudier davantage. Étudier means study, and davantage is the word when we want to add more word after the verb. Do you hear it again? That whenever we want to say more with an action, we always use davantage word after the verb. Tu devrais, you should étudier more. Étudier more. Study davantage. Okay? Étudier davantage. So that's how le conditionnel is used. Une fois, répétez après moi. One time, repeat after me. Je voudrais un café, s'il vous plaît. Nous aimerions partir en vacances. Elle voudrait devenir médecin. Il pourrait venir demain. Tu devrais étudier davantage. I would suggest you to memorize the verb devoir, okay, devoir verb in conditionnel, avec all of the subjects, avec tous les sujets, okay, devoir verb, vouloir verb, and pouvoir verb, as these three verbs are used like more frequently in daily life sentences. Okay, should, could, would, these are used in like daily life sentences. So that's why I would suggest you to memorize the conjugation of these three verbs in the conditional présent. Now as you know the rules, and we have taken one example for each of these three verbs, so what's your homework for these three verbs? You would conjugate these verbs with the spellings avec tous les sujets, with all of the subjects. Okay. So this is the exercise, okay? This is your test from this like conditional présent. You would convert these verbs into le conditionnel présent. You would conjugate the verbs in the conditional present, okay? Then after conjugating these verbs, after making these sentences, here are the some sentences which you have to translate in French. Traduisez en français, which means translate in French. Now you will try to convert these sentences, okay? In these sentences, you would need to conjugate the voir, vouloir, and pouvoir verb. So that's how you could practice. You can also make some of the sentences by your own self. You can first make the sentences in English and then you could try converting those sentences in French, okay? If you have any problem in this tense, do let me know. Otherwise, we will discuss the things in the live class. Au revoir. See you around in the next lecture.